give you kind of an overview of where our program is today, and just to give you an idea of where the roadmap for where our conversation is going to happen. So this is today's agenda, and we'll come back and take another look at this as well. But I'm going to hand things off right now to Julia, who's going to give us a little lowdown on the Zoom logistics and the tour of the screen and how you'll be able to interact with that. Julia?
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. And thanks everyone for being here. It's great to have a reason to connect. I know things are starting to crawl back into normalcy, but we're still virtual for now. So we're really glad to have you here. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Zoom platform, I know there's a million different ones out there, WebEx and Teams. But let me just give you a little lowdown on how to navigate the Zoom for today's meeting. So if you could, please leave yourself on mute for the duration of the presentations. There will be an opportunity for breakout rooms at the end of the presentations, and you can have yourself off mute for that and your video on so you can interact freely. But just for the purpose of lessening distractions, please leave yourself on mute. And that button should be in, you'll have a toolbar on the bottom of your screen that's all the way to the left. As well as your video. It's up to you whether you'd like to have your video on or off. This is a recorded event, but you will only see the presenter's screen and the actual presenter speaking on the recording. Other than that, we would love for you to be popping things in the chat box as we go along. If you have a question and you don't want to forget it, you can pop it in there. If you have any links you want to share, if you want to interact with other guests, that's the place to do so. And so again, on that bottom toolbar, you'll see chat. You can just click on that and pop things into the chat box. And we'll do our best to get to all of those questions during presentations, and if not, in breakout rooms for sure. I think other than that, we will be doing breakout rooms at the end. You'll see something pop up at the bottom of your toolbar when that time comes, and you'll be able to assign yourself to whatever breakout room you would like to be a part of. So you'll get a little prompt that pops up, and you click that, and then you can choose what breakout room you'd like to be in. You are also free to move about different breakout rooms. If yours ends and you'd like to go to another one that's still in session, feel free to do that. If you have any issues getting into a breakout room, you can message me directly or just put it in the chat box, and I will manually assign you to whatever room you'd like to be in. So I think that's it for now. We also have reactions. If you hear something you like and you want to clap or give a thumbs up, please do that. We want to make this as interactive as possible. So again, bottom of your toolbar, you'll see reactions. You can click on that and it'll pop up a little emoji next to your name. And I think that's it for Zoom. If you have any questions throughout, put it in the chat box. I'll get back to you ASAP. And we're all still, it's been a year, but we're all still kind of figuring it out. So no worries, ask all the questions you need to. And I think that's it on the technical side.
All right, thanks, Julia. And thanks for the disclaimer. We're all still figuring it out. Even if we've done it a million times, it's not quite second nature for us. So bear with us at the same time, and we'll all get a great program together out of today. So just moving forward, so kind of a question about why this Green Convene. So the LSC's mission is to connect communities, convene strategically, and create programs, events, and resources for a sustainable and equitable future. And today's program, we really want to make those connections between businesses, nonprofits, and other kinds of organizations using commercial energy, and the local expertise and resources that we have here in Louisville to help them meet their sustainability goals and to save some money doing it. So why are we focusing on the commercial energy sector as a Green Convene? Well, first and foremost, the city's recent greenhouse gas inventory revealed that more than a quarter of our total greenhouse gas emissions result from energy use by commercial and institutional buildings. So that's a very close second by a slim margin to residential buildings. So if we as a community seek to reduce our climate impact, these buildings present a lot of opportunity. Moreover, commercial energy use presents big opportunities for saving money. Commercial buildings waste about a third of the energy that they use. That's a pretty stunning fact and figure. So there's a lot of opportunity there. Restaurants often use 5 to 7 times more than the average commercial building. And for our faith-based community, those congregations can cut their energy costs by up to 30% by strategically investing in energy efficiency. So as you can see here, the more that you spend on energy, the larger the opportunity you have to save money. So LSC came together with the Kentucky Pollution Prevention Center and the Louisville Climate Action Network, KPPC and LCAN, to bring you today's program and to help find a starting point for seeking out technical services to assess your energy efficiency opportunities. Recognizing that these steps may be made possible with financial resources, we invited 2 guest speakers to add to our conversation. We have the LG&E Commercial Rebate Program and the EPAD program brought to us by Energize Kentucky. We'll start the conversation hearing about the financial assistance programs, give you some ideas on how you can pay for some of the next steps, and then we're going to move on to our featured energy assessment providers. At the end of our panel presentations, of course, as Julia explained, we'll have our breakout rooms for Q&A and more detailed discussion. So remember, if you think of a question during these presentations, feel free to put that in the chat box. We have some great facilitators with us today from our LSC family, and they'll take note of those questions and make sure that they get brought over into those breakout rooms where we hope that everyone will have a chance to have some great conversation with today's speakers. So with that, I'm going to move on to our next speaker, Mary Hartledge, Program Manager with LG&E, to talk about our commercial rebate program. And while we're doing the screen switch sharing here, we're a couple poll questions that Julia will put up. You'll see these throughout our presentations today, just to help people get to thinking a little bit about some of the topics that we're discussing. So while the poll's up, Mary, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. I appreciate that. So let me get this started. Okay, so you just let me know when you want me to begin.
I think we've got some good responses coming in. So if you want to go ahead and we'll close that poll, and
While they're doing,
got a good opportunity to share some information here.
that is great. That is great. Okay, so just to let you again introduce myself, I'm Mary Hartledge. I'm with the LG&E KU Business Rebate Program. Before I get into the information, I just want to let you know that the Business Rebate Program, is an energy efficiency program, and it's one of 4 that we have. We have 2 residential and 2 commercial programs. We also, if you're not familiar, we have renewable energy options. We have community and business solar. We have green energy. So if you haven't been to our website recently, I would ask that you go and check it out. There's a lot of things that you can do via the website. So just, when we go into the breakout rooms, if you have more questions, just let me know. Okay. So let's start saving energy and money. So what is the program? The overview of it is that it's both commercial and industrial. The industrial we started with the industrials in 2019, and it's to earn cash rebates for making energy saving improvements. So it can be to your existing facilities, or if you're building new, anything above state code would qualify. If you're who's eligible, if you're commercial industrial and you're paying into the DSM program, that's the demand side management program, we can work with you and get you started. It is an electric only program. We don't have gas available for energy rebates. So I just wanted to point that out to you. Who's our business partner? Our business partner is Franklin Energy, and I'm bringing them into the discussion because if you have done a rebate with us in the past, or if you're going to do one in the future, Franklin Energy helps support this program. They do all of the rebate processing. They reach out, they send the application. So I just wanted to make you familiar with them so that you wouldn't think that you were being scammed if you were contacted by Franklin Energy. Again, we do all kind of things together, and then they do some things separately. So, if you want us to come and visit with you, we can do on-site if you're comfortable with that at this time, or we've been doing a lot of virtual meetings as well. But they do a lot of program outreach for us. And I just list their team members because, as you can see, it's internally, it's myself and a support person, but we have access to 5 other people with our business partner. The rebate categories, I've listed them here. I won't go through each one of them, but I will point out that each of these has different rebate amounts. And so through the online website, then you can actually see the program overview, and it will list what you would be kind of expecting in a rebate amount. The lighting is one of the biggest categories that most people, along with maybe some other things, but typically it's the lighting that is applied for. And the lighting, I'll just point out that if you're going to start something new, I would ask that you reach out to us and just run some things by us if you're considering some product. A lot of the lighting companies, if you're working through a lighting company, they're familiar with the program, they know the requirements, but I'll just point out that lighting has to be Energy Star or DLC qualified. So there's just little things that you might want to know that you may, if you didn't pick it up through the website or talking to Franklin, they would be able to tell you as well. If there's something that you're doing that's not on this list, you can see down under chillers, it's called custom. The custom rebate is one that we try to use then to say, okay, are you saving energy? Is what you're doing saving energy? And if it's not on the prescriptive list, then we could possibly work with you to do a custom. The custom requires more work on your end to actually show what the energy usage was prior and then what it is after. And then we pay 3 cents per kWh at that point. The other thing that I'll point out is the energy audit. We don't perform energy audits, but if you have an energy audit done, then in conjunction with one of the other categories, you can apply for the energy audit as well. We pay 25% of the cost up to a maximum of $3,000. So if you're looking at that and have had one done, if you're getting ready to apply for a rebate, then be sure and put that in there as well. And then of course we have a new building, and the new building again is above code. We'd like to say that this is a simple application process. You have a couple of things that you need to do, and then we do the rest. So we show 5 steps. The first one is to review the program requirements, and that's either online or with the help of Franklin Energy. We can review either before, or if you've already done the install, then we can look at what you have and then help you out. You're going to complete the application request form. That gets everything started. It enrolls you into the program, and you don't need to enroll into the program until after the product is installed. So if you're looking to do something, you don't need to create it now. You can wait and then get all the information together that you're going to need and then enroll in the program. You're going to then sign and return the completed application package with the supporting documentation. It's going to go to Franklin Energy. So Franklin is going to have your completed application. They're going to send you a copy of it to review it to make sure everything's correct, because on that is also where you want the check to be sent to. So you want to make sure that all that information is correct and that we have good contact information if there's any other questions. And so when you get that, it will be from Franklin Energy. You will review it and sign it, return it. Then Franklin Energy is gonna process the rebate for us. And we have flat files that go back and forth. So there's no problem of things getting lost. They're gonna send it to us when it's totally completed and they have all the information and supporting documentation. Then I'm gonna review it. And if everything is there, then I'm gonna approve it. And you can expect to get the rebate check within 4 to 6 weeks. The website there is listed. So if you have more details, I show it at the end as well. So if you want to take a screenshot, go ahead. But you'll see it again later. So the components of a completed application is the signed application. You're going to have itemized invoices. So that can be, if you're doing it through a lighting company, it's going to show where the product was installed. It's going to show the product information, the quantity, the cost, and then you're going to show proof of payment. That can be any form. If it's a vendor, they're usually at the balance, it shows a 0. That's good for us. Sometimes they stamp it as paid in full. That's okay with us. Some people, submit a copy of their computer screen that shows maybe a check in the amount to show that it was paid. We don't need any confidential information, any banking information. We don't need any of that. We don't want it. So you can white that out or do whatever, but we're pretty good trying to work with you to get what we need without getting any other specific information regarding your business. And then you're going to provide spec sheets. If for some reason your vendor doesn't provide spec sheets and you're having trouble, well, you can get them basically online. But if you're having trouble with that, that's where Franklin Energy will come in again and help find that information for you as well. So there's a few ways to enroll. We hope that they're easy ways. You can call our 800 number. That is our call center. You can enroll through them. You can do it online. You would log into your My account. And if you're not familiar with our website and have not already enrolled in My account, I would suggest that you do that as well. You have access to a lot of information and you can do online billing. You can do a lot of things. And plus you can check out a lot of the offerings that the utility have. And then finally, you could email to Franklin Energy, business.rebates@franklinenergy.com. They will help you as well. So we want to make this an easy process for you. Every customer has different things that they wanted to rebate on. They have questions. So we can host WebEx meetings. We can, like I say, do on-site. Just let us know. We'll work with you any way that we can to help out. So this is the contact information, my name and phone numbers, email address, Franklin's email address, and then the website again. So if you have any other questions, we can discuss it in the breakout room. I hope that for some of you that you haven't applied for a rebate in the past, that you will see how easy it is and decide to, check us out. We can do a look back. So if you have installed something last year, don't worry about that. If it's been installed, we can work with you and get you a rebate for that as well. So I think we have one more poll question that we will put up, and then I will talk to you all in the break room should you want to join. Thank you all so much.
So thank you, Mary. Yes, everyone take a minute to look at the poll question up on your screen. And we're going to be transitioning to our next speaker, again, another financial resource that can help you take some of the steps that you may find from your energy assessor. And we have Chris Jones, who is the program manager at Energize Kentucky, and he's going to tell us some more about the EPAD program. Thanks, Chris.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, Chris Jones. I am the program manager at Energize Kentucky. We specialize in program administration for EPAD programs throughout the state of Kentucky. And as you'll see at the end of the presentation, just recently became involved with the Louisville Metro program. So starting out, Energy Project Assessment District, nationally, this is known as PACE financing, but in Kentucky, each district is an Energy Project Assessment District. So EPAD is that acronym. And what this is it's a financing option to repay loans for energy efficiency, renewable energy, and water conservation projects. And the uniqueness to this is that it is repaid through a voluntary property special assessment. And just kind of briefly, you're probably familiar with just standard governmental charges, taxes on a property tax bill, but but there's also line items that are called special assessments. Typically, they are for things like downtown business districts or sidewalk improvements, water line improvements, where you generally have dozens, if not hundreds, of property owners paying into that special improvement district. With EPAD, it is just a single property owner that wants to participate that is adding a special assessment line item. So, it doesn't affect anybody else other than the single property owner. But the repayment is solely through a special assessment that's added to the property tax records. As far as the availability, really in Kentucky, the way the Kentucky EPAD law was written is that it's really available for all commercial designated properties, which includes the wide array. It explicitly does not allow for single family residential owner. So, multifamily residential is fine if it fits that commercial classification. Nonprofit property owners are also eligible, but really that whole spectrum of commercial property types are available and eligible. So this is what PACE financing looks like across the country. It does start with state legislation. There are 37 states, as you can see. Kentucky passed in 2015, and we are able to have a program anywhere in the state. As Energize Kentucky again is a program administrator, but yeah, this is what the landscape looks like. So if you're on the call as let's just say a regional contractor, Tennessee and Indiana are two states where the PACE legislation has not been passed. So those are two states where you can't, where there is not currently PACE. I know there's been a lot of discussion in Indiana over the past couple years in particular, and I think we are collectively as kind of the industry hopeful that the effort will finally solidify in 2022 for Indiana. Not so certain about Tennessee. So someone asked, why PACE? What are the benefits to the EPAD program? These are just really the high-level bullet points. So unlike traditional financing, there is no down payment required, which can obviously be pretty significant. It is 100% of the project cost. There is should have an asterisk on this one. The way that PACE financing does get applied is that, for example, it's based on appraised value of a property. And just for round numbers, let's just say that there's a property that has $1 million appraised value. Typically, we're going to have PACE funders that will provide in the 20 to 30% of the appraised value of that property. So, $200,000, $300,000 is kind of going to be the range of what the funding is available. But if the project cost is that, then PACE financing through the EPAD program can, fund the entire thing. The third bullet here is certainly one of the more significant ones, because anytime you can, extend a repayment term, it's going to certainly lower your repayment amount, which is certainly going to improve the cash flow. And so that's what, the EPAD program affords, is that the term of the loan can go out as long as the useful life of the improvement, which is pretty significant. And then the last is relating back to that special assessment. Once the EPAD loan closes, it does stay with the property and not the property owner or business like a traditional loan would be. So if the property, let's just say it's a solar array that gets funded for 30 years and the property owner sells the property 5 years in, then the special assessment just stays with the property for the remaining term or until it would be prepaid at some point in time. A quote here from the Springhurst Tennis Club. Every property owner has really been pretty satisfied with the EPAD program after long after they've applied and been approved and closed on the loan. Here just briefly are some of the existing improvement types. Again, the Kentucky EPAD legislation really affords pretty wide general definition of energy efficiency, renewable energy, and water efficiency improvements. But these are kind of the common improvement types. So the application process, really try to make it very simple. The first step is going to be an initial eligibility form. And that just is, providing some basic information about the property and what the improvement or the project that you're trying to do. And then once you complete that and submit that into the program, then, we would have a conversation, and it would be with myself that, just want to understand, before we, start getting, funders involved to really kind of take a look at the project. Then from there, it would go to a full program application that, provides for, all of these, types of items. And I won't get into a lot of detail here because we can do that if you have questions at the breakout section. And then once the program approves, then, at that point, then it can move pretty quickly to a closing and then ultimately, funding of the project. So, another kind of process diagram here, but basically, property owner is entering into what's called a tri-party agreement with Louisville Metro and the EPAD lender. In short, it is just saying that, as the property owner, you're agreeing that, an understanding that this is going to be a special assessment placed on the property record, and you in turn are, as the property owner, going to, repay that special assessment and understand that it does have lien rights to the property above any mortgages. And, so kind of in a nutshell, that's kind of what is stated there, because again, this is different than a traditional loan. And again, that it is actually attaching to the property and those special assessments.
Okay, so for whatever reason, I had the phone drop, so I'm going to connect in here via the computer audio. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Chris, but it sounds a little roboty. Oh, and echoey.
Do this. Okay, let me do this. Let me to the audio.
This is the world we live in now, folks. Audio connections drop. Let's see if we can't get Chris back. Yes, and as Julia pointed out, if you have some questions going on where Chris is at in this EPAD presentation, please do throw those in the chat box. We had some great questions in there for LG&E's breakout room session. And also just remind folks that during those breakout rooms, you can move from one to the other. So if there's two different or more programs that you're looking to get into for some more specific and detailed questions, that's definitely possible during that breakout session time frame.
Okay, I think I'm back.
Yes, and you sound great. Thanks, Chris.
All right, very good. Sorry about that. So yeah, kind of going to the second bullet here. So you know, once that closes, then it's a pretty standard construction draw type of disbursement. But the EPAD lender essentially holds the funds in escrow and then disperses out per the agreed upon you know, process. And then you know, again, it all goes back to the voluntary special assessment repayment. Just to touch on some of the program fees. So there is a program closing fee of 1% of the total project cost. There is an annual administrative fee of $200, and that is if the sheriff actually collects the annual payment. That is one, you know, big change here to the program, is that to date, the sheriff's office has collected the special assessment at a 1% fee. And that has really been challenging for some larger projects. And so, so what we actually do at Energize Kentucky, we will actually facilitate collecting the special assessment, and just the special assessment. We're absolutely not taking over the property tax bill collection from the sheriff, but for the special assessment only, we will actually provide the property owner with an option for Energize Kentucky to essentially bill and collect that, and then remit those funds back to the original PACE funder. And we do that at a $500 flat fee. And so that has worked well in other programs that we administrate, and you know, believe that it will, you know, also you know, help projects you know, kind of going forward here, and possibly some that maybe didn't happen because of the sheriff's 1% on that collection. So those are kind of program fees. Kind of go through some of the case studies that we've had to date so far in the program. The first one being a new construction multifamily, multiple energy improvements there. You can see the 18-year term on that, and you know, I think that's been a successful project. The tennis club, I know this property owner. This project was kind of brought in from a contractor who knows PACE well and promotes it to property owners. But yeah, they had some LED lighting, HVAC upgrades, and you know, 15-year term there. This one was, I believe, the first new construction, or I'm sorry, the second new construction, but also included solar panels and some windmills with regards to renewable energy. Pretty exciting there. I can tell you that this is the type of project that we see across the country with PACE financing, and believe that once you know, word starts to, you know, get out to kind of the development community a little more, that that it'll probably you know, we'll see probably lots of these coming in. And then the fourth one here is a nonprofit, as we had mentioned, doing, you know, some HVAC upgrades along with LED lighting upgrades, and we're able to secure a 20-year term on that project. So you know, we know that there's a lot of, you know, these type of projects out there in the county as well, and would love to, you know, see more you know, actually get you know, get done. And so, you know, this is the, if you haven't visited the webpage here, but you know, this is the dashboard of the energy savings and you know, other details about the projects that get completed. And then the last is with regards to program updates. So kind of mentioned it there at the very beginning, but Energize Kentucky is now the EPAD administrator for the program. And then also we've been able to clarify that what we call retroactive PACE financing is now available. And that's basically if a property owner did a qualifying project a year ago and just found out about PACE financing today, that they could actually apply to the EPAD program to obtain you know, funding, the same as if they, you know, had just learned about it today and had a current project today. So certainly get in contact with us to, you know, learn a little bit more about that. And then you know, our contact information, the link for the EPAD program details, and then my contact information here. Feel free to email or reach out via phone. Would be happy to get into a lot of the fine details. So with that, I will turn it back over.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris. So we're going to switch gears a little bit now that you have some ideas on how to pay for energy efficiency upgrades. We're going to dive right in with 2 local programs that can help you find what your specific next steps can be. And there is a lot of technical assistance work to be done here in Louisville, and more need than we currently have capacity to fulfill. But today's featured program speakers have drawn up some approximate delineations to help you all know where best to begin. They'll tell you more about that in each of their presentations. We're starting out with Lissa McCracken, the Executive Director of the Kentucky Pollution Prevention Center. As we make that transition to Lissa's presentation, I think we have a couple more poll questions to put up for you all.
Hi, everybody.
Yes,
Yes,
Lissa, I'm going to turn it over to you.
thank you. Happy to be here. I love being a part of this whole panel. One of the things is there are lots of resources for you, and I think the way this panel is lined out, it's giving you what you need to help to make some changes at your facility if that's what you're looking to do. One of the things with KPPC, let me go ahead and get my my screen shared. And then presentation mode. So at KPPC, we help businesses to become more competitive, sustainable, and more efficient. So related to your energy, waste, water, what any kind of environmental issues are that you might have that are non-compliance. One of the things we do is conduct a utility bill analysis. So I thought it would be interesting to see if those who are attending here today, how many have actually had a utility bill analysis conducted in the last 3 years? So it looks like a few have, some haven't, and some are not sure. All right, so after this, hopefully you'll have some more information where you can find out whether or not your utility bill analysis has been conducted at your facility, and also if it's something that you could have a responsibility for, that this is something that you're going to look into doing. Let me go ahead and, okay, so we are located at the University of Louisville JV Speed School of Engineering. As I mentioned, we work with business and industry to help them reduce waste and increase efficiency. We have engineers on staff. And one of the things that we really like about working at the university is we have co-op students that work with us. So anybody, any business that we work with, the students are a part of the whole process, from being part of the assessment to researching information to writing up the assessment, reporting out. So we really enjoy having them with us. We have no cost for our services. We are confidential. So you know, we don't have to worry about us sharing your name or any of your information. And we're non-regulatory, so we don't look at any compliance-based information. Although we are free, we probably could say no cost because we are subsidized by some funding from the state. There's a hazardous waste assessment fee. And then we also receive grants from federal entities. So there is someone actually paying for the services, but to the person that we're providing to, there is no cost. And I'm going to go ahead and shut my video off so that you can be able to concentrate on the slides. So sometimes just looking at a utility bill analysis is a way to kind of do a forensic exam of your energy usage. Sometimes just changing to a different rate can be more economical based on your electric use. For an example, we had a printer that saved $19,000 a year by changing to a different rate based on their energy use pattern. So sometimes you are stuck in a rate and, you know, just over time, things change at your facility and you don't really think about going back and looking to that difference. We've even had buildings where the use of the building has changed. So they were not in the correct rate structure. So these are the types of things that can be identified through utility bill analysis. Now we can actually obtain the bills from the utility companies. We have to get permission from you, but with that, it's usually just an email giving us permission so that you don't even have to be involved in it, and we can directly obtain the bills and work on doing the analysis. A great way to track your energy usage is through the Portfolio Manager. This program not only tracks energy, but also water and waste and materials. It's really come a long way from when it was first started. I don't know how many people utilize this, but it is really a great way to keep your eye on what's happening in your facility. And this is one thing that KPPC will help you with. If you want to get an account started, that's something that we can help set up. So, you know, there's some obvious things that can be done, which when we come on site or when we're talking with people and doing an assessment, obviously, you know, LEDs, you've seen some of the projects that Chris shared that EPAD projects are doing, and you heard the projects that are supported by the utilities. So, you know, not much of this is rocket science, but sometimes having an outside entity come in and take a look at what's going on helps a little bit. But, you know, sometimes you're so focused on getting your lighting or your HVAC type of things modified that people don't think about the building envelope. So no matter how efficient you make the equipment, there are certain other things that you need to keep aware. And also, one thing that people really don't think about is the behavior change. So communication behavior change is key and really overlooked, but it can result in additional savings. So we have another poll at this time. Want to get an idea of what you feel like is a driver for energy management. There's so many different reasons to be proactive. Energy is easily monitored and very controllable. So I just wanted to get an idea of what everybody was thinking about. I think this is a very carbon footprint minded group, so that doesn't surprise me that that is leading in the polls. Okay, looks like things are kind of ending. So carbon footprint reduction is definitely a trend, and not only for the company itself, but many manufacturers especially are looking to put these types of restrictions on their suppliers to do the same. So there's all sorts of different reasons, and every single one of these actually is a very good reason. So using a systematic approach helps organizations overcome barriers and incorporate a structured planning process. The Energy Star Guidelines for Energy Management is the perfect framework to assist you with your efforts. And there's a link that should be provided in the chat that links you to this page on Energy Star's website. Really, this was initially designed to assist with improving energy management, but the steps are generic and can be applied to any environmental effort, almost really anything that you want to do in any kind of a planning format. But you can use it for waste reduction, water efficiency, anything, you know, that you're looking to improve your footprint and your sustainability initiatives. I'm going to talk more about this in the break room if people are interested, some more about the different steps. So please come and join in the break room if you're interested in learning more about it. I wanted to give you just a couple of case studies that we had. This one is for a health club. It was in a fairly small town, so it's not a huge club or anything. but it had large floor to ceiling plate glass windows on the front. They installed daylight sensors at about $500 and which then allowed them to dim the interior lights on sunny days. So they really could take advantage of the natural light coming in. And there's all kinds of other no-cost items, changing the pool set point, turning off lights. It was incredible that they kept the boiler room light on 24/7 because they thought, just in case somebody needed to get in there in an emergency, that the light would be on for them. But I think they kind of felt like that was a little bit much. And just by turning that light off in the boiler room was $3,000 in savings a year. So they also had a building automation system, and this is not the only place. So many places actually have these systems, but they don't utilize them, or people have turned over. So whoever was there when it was installed and utilized it, that just didn't carry over to the new person. But they used it to turn back their thermostats during the non-occupied hours, which led to some savings. Overall, they had about 16% in savings. And, that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a pretty big slice of the pie there. So their annual utility budget went from over $60,000 to just under $51,000, about $9,000 savings. Now, just to show an office building, and this is the 4-story office building with a bank on the ground floor. So you can imagine there are lots of computers and other plug loads. Utilizing power strips, they eliminated phantom loads. So that was, although it doesn't seem like much, it does add up over the years. And they also implemented a computer hibernation policy. They adjusted the intake temperature on the air handler, reducing the temp in the winter and increasing it in the summer, which saves electricity and cost savings. And they installed and used programmable thermostats to reduce heat and AC nights and weekends. One of the real keys, though, is that they put an energy management team together. And the energy management team is one of the recommendations as you're following the 7-step guidelines. And they calculated that the savings identified by bringing that team together through some other small things was about $3,000 a year. So as you can see, there was about a 14% savings related to their utility costs. And again, it's the piece of the pie is not all that small. And it just, you're thinking annually how things can kind of add up. So definitely small savings are worth it. So talking a little bit about how KPPC can help, besides some of the examples we've already shown, we really provide one-on-one assistance. And we can do that through coaching. Basically what we're saying is, if you just have something you're interested in, just give us a call. Let us, talk through it with you. And we can do it by email, over the phone, web-based conferencing. We also do on-site visits. We can look at something, your facility-wide or just a certain thing that you're mostly interested in. So we really try to tailor our services to what the customer needs are. And we also do workshops and webinars. And of course, this year, mostly webinars. So we can help, like I said, take a look at your current situation, discuss different approaches. I will say that our recommendations are real world. There's no reason of giving pie in the sky recommendations if they're not going to be implemented. So we really try to give you as much no cost, low cost recommendations, and then things that you might be able to work in if they're even more capital improvements over time. But of course, with EPAD, that really helps and is a great incentive. We could even provide checklists for the type of facility that you have so that you all can work on it internally yourself. We've talked about the utility bill analysis. And one thing we do is we estimate the investment, the savings, and the payback period for your opportunities. So you can make some good business decisions based upon what we present for you. And then lastly, we do make a connection to financial and technical resources. So we just don't leave you hanging. We would like normally provide information about EPAD, information about any incentives from the utilities, and any other kind of technical resources that we think might assist you in your efforts. So as I mentioned, we're really a third party. Sometimes when you're doing your day-to-day, you kind of get used to things, and it's helpful to have somebody else come in and take a look. We really like to think of it as an empowering the businesses that we work with, so that, you know, we're not selling a product. So when somebody does come in, a vendor, supplier, you have a little more knowledge that can help you move forward and implement. And these are where you can, you know, take this to your management team and say, here's what we have, here's where we can put our, you know, use our best savings plan by implementing certain types of projects. So this can help you with that strategy. And of course, we are confidential, so it doesn't really hurt too much. We're not going to share any information that you have. Like to leave with this slide. This is the cost of doing nothing. And so many companies evaluate capital expenditures based on simple payback. But what they don't often consider is that the savings continue even after the payback point is reached. So this slide illustrates the 3-year cost saving of lighting for a facility that we worked with. The company had a combination of metal halide and old fluorescent lighting. We calculated the 3-year cost of electricity for the lights, and with the current lighting, the company would pay just over $18,000 for the lights. With a one-time investment of $3,900, the 3-year cost was to just over $11,000, resulting in a $7,000 savings over a 3-year period. So sometimes putting something off is not really where it's going to be the best bang for the buck. So I want to wrap up with a couple of slides about some things that are going on in the area. I'm fortunate enough to be the board chair for the Louisville Energy Alliance, and we have a kilowatt crackdown award ceremony coming up, where we would like to recognize achievements for successful energy management and reductions. So the applications have already been received and closed for this past year. We're currently evaluating them, and we'll be having a virtual ceremony in May. It's going to be more than just handing out awards, though. It's going to be, we're going to have some of the award winners serve on a panel and talk about what they've been doing, and also take questions. And then we're going to have one of the winners as a featured speaker talking about their energy initiatives. So visit this website, LouisvilleEnergyAlliance.org, to find out more about it. And we definitely would love to have you participate. And lastly, there's a building operator certification program, and that is hosting. So we are going to have a lunch and learn so everybody can learn more about it. It's going to be April 14th from 12 to 12:30. And you can actually get 100% discount, information for $100 discount. If I said 100%, but that is not what it is, $100 discount for the tuition. And this is a boots on the ground. It's a national program that helps, you know, people who really are hands-on with the operations and maintenance of facilities. Many people have heard of the certified energy managers, which are geared more towards engineers. These are really people who are, you know, are in the day-to-day operations, and gives them some professional development. So I'm going to talk more about this in the breakout session as well. So that wraps up my presentation.
Excellent. Thank you, Lissa. I think so next up we have Sarah Lynn Cunningham, Executive Director of the Louisville Climate Action Network, or LCAN, because Louisville can, of course. And again, as we transition screens here, we have a poll for you. And Lissa, I think you'll need to stop sharing so that way Sarah Lynn can take, there we go. Excellent. We have 2 great poll questions up if everybody wants to take a look at those and see some responses rolling in. Again, some mindfulness around our utility bills. Sarah Lynn, take it away when you're ready.
Okay, can everybody hear me all right? Or at least those who can respond audibly?
We hear you.
Yep.
Cool, okay.
Yes.
I wanted to say that I am very impressed with the number of people who are actually sitting indoors participating in a webinar on such a lovely day. I'm not sure what that says about how smart we are, but nonetheless, we're here and I really appreciate it. I wanted to, do you want to finish the poll up right quick?
Results are up.
Thank you. So they're better than I might have predicted, actually. That's encouraging. Let me read the second one. Cool. Okay. So I am Sarah Lynn Cunningham. I am a licensed professional engineer and an educator and the co-founder of the Louisville Climate Action Network. We have a video right here. If you want to learn more about the 3 types of programming that we offer, Who is LCAN is a 3-minute video that gives you the highlights. The newest video is a takeoff on Dr. Seuss. He did a book for graduating young people called Oh, the Places You'll Go. We think it's really important that even though we're dealing with a very serious crisis, that we still have a sense of humor and have fun. So there's an example of that ethic. We are a network. And so here you can see the logos of the 41 organizations that are currently members of the network. I got another application today from a local business that I didn't have time to get up yet. But you can see it's a mixture of for-profit, not-for-profit, educational, and faith-based organizations. If your organization would like to join, you just click this button, join here, and then it tells you what the terms are. They're really simple. There's 2 of them. And then you click here on the application form, submit it with your logo, and assuming you're approved, which everybody has been so far, you'll go up on this website and the website will be linked to your website. So I don't think I need to tell y'all why we're doing this workshop on energy efficiency and the climate and all that. But I wanted to say why we started this program is that there's a whole lot of building owners who just don't know where to start, or they may have an idea that they need a new furnace or heating system, but they don't know whom to call. And they may not know how to evaluate bids and that sort of thing. And frankly, a lot of people don't have the personality. Hold on, I need a drink. It is allergy season. A whole lot of people don't have the personality to manage contractors. So we decided that we would offer those kinds of services. I hadn't even thought to say that we keep our clients confidential unless they authorize our sharing of their story, but listening to Lissa's presentation, I thought I better bring that up too. We thought it was really important that by the end of this workshop that the participants would have an idea of whom to call for what. So we've had some discussions with KPPC as well as KIPL, the Kentucky Interfaith Power and Light chapter for Kentucky. They are actually, I think Audrey's participating today. And so what we've worked out is that LCAN will be first at bat for nonprofit groups and restaurants. KIPL will be first at bat for faith centers or houses of worship. And then if that particular client needs more services than KIPL can offer, then they will ask LCAN to step in and assist. And then generally speaking, KPPC will be lead at bat for most businesses. But there's a whole lot of loosey-goosey stuff here, and you should feel free to call anybody, but that's what we thought would make some sense as far as expertise and just practical directing y'all to the best people to help. I wanted to mention beyond that, that LCAN is, we had actually planned on getting started with this emphasis before COVID, and COVID's really kind of slowed us down. But we are looking to provide extra services for historically disadvantaged communities, particularly the West End. So much so that we are going to be offering assistance with finding financing, so that if there is a historically disadvantaged client that would like to become more energy efficient or go solar but can't get together the capital funding, we will help them to find that. What else here? Let's see. So I want to go to our services page here and show you the general outline of how we operate this program. But I want to emphasize that it's truly the part here about what makes sense. Some of this stuff may not make sense for everybody, and that is okay. We've had situations where the client really needed a focus on behavior. And so we put together a presentation for employees without ever getting into their bills. Though clearly, we like to start out by looking at people's bills. And that's partly so we know what we're dealing with, but it's also because whoever's paying for any modifications or upgrades, whether it's the business, the nonprofit, the client, or a charity, they want to know what kind of a return on investment they got for the provision of that money. So we think it's super important to start out with a baseline. We also ask our clients to let us use Energy Star Portfolio Manager with their records, and we ask clients to allow us to have access to their utility bills for 24 months after they've implemented the changes as well, so that we can truly measure what's going on. For each of these points, I want to give you an example. And the example for this one is that we discovered that a client had been paying for many years for a 2-inch water line coming into the building, and yet they actually only had a 1-inch water line. So the flat fees that they paid every month for being connected were much higher than they needed to be. They only got a year's worth of refunds, but every little bit counts. And from that point forward, there was a small windfall in their budget. The next thing is even vaguer, I'm sorry, but the on-site visit, that just really varies according to the client. Sometimes we find very behavior-oriented things, and other times it's much more mechanical system and that sort of thing. It's just, again, whatever makes sense. But you'd be amazed at how important this step is, even when you're dealing with somebody with a technical background. If they use different vocabulary than you do, you can go off on a tangent. It's just really helps to go and visit in person, meet the players, and see the facilities. Let's see. So the other thing I wanted to point out on that one is just some examples. One of my favorite is the person who dresses inappropriately for the winter, has an electric resistance heater, space heater underneath her desk. And it's also just happens to be near the thermostat for the whole building. So that person's staying warmer, and yet everybody else is getting chilly because the thermostat goes, hey man, we're cool. So that's the one I like to work on. Another one is nobody thinks to lock double hung windows, and the wind, when it blows, is just pushing outside air right between the sashes. Another one is a client we visited and, looked outside and there were 2 electrical meters. And then we're like, wait a minute, why are there 2 electrical meters? And it turns out that they used to have 2 air conditioners, neither of which were efficient. And a few years earlier, somebody changed out to a very efficient air conditioner, but they forgot to call LG&E to tell them that they didn't need that extra service. And so this nonprofit group was paying $50 a month meter fee and never racking up any usage. And it just kept going on for years until we made a phone call and got that taken care of. Another reason or an example of why an on-site visit is so important is for example, we went to this nonprofit and we asked to see the air conditioning unit and the water heating unit. And the maintenance man who had been there for 7 years didn't know how to get to the air conditioner on the roof and didn't even know where the water heater was. It's probably pretty safe to assume that, you know, the pipes hadn't been insulated because it had probably baked in the sun on the air conditioning unit. Who knows if the water heater was venting and anybody was checking to make sure. It's just that kind of stuff that when you go there and start asking questions, you find stuff. The next step is we provide a written report that's customized to that particular entity. And it has things like behavior, yes, but it also has stuff like what we try to do is to say, here are the things you need to do right away because they're safety oriented, like the windows unlocked at grade where anybody can come and open it and climb into your business. Here are the things that we think are pretty important to do soon. And then the last category is when you get the time and the money, these are things you ought to be looking at in the future. So basically 3 categories. And here's some examples. With permission, I'll tell you that Farm to Fork Catering is a past client, and we've even had a Green Convene there. So some of you have heard lots of examples, but my favorite example is a lot of restaurants, you go in there and you sit in the dining room as a customer and you are freezing because the chef and the cooks are about to die back in the kitchen and they've stoked the AC in the kitchen trying to withstand being in there all day long, and it causes the dining room to be too cold. So first of all, Farm to Fork put in one HVAC zone for the kitchen and another for the front of the house so that the thermostats would operate independently. But then we worked with Sherry to do a special hood that has a variable speed motor and thermostats, so it only pulls out as much air as necessary. And the way we had walls put on the sides, it was even more efficient about bringing off the heat and not other air from elsewhere. It's kind of hard to explain that waving my hands, but suffice it to say, everybody's happier, and that's the way I like to do things. And let's see, another example is we're advising a large church on a large photovoltaic panel installation. So that's kind of exciting too. So not just energy efficiency, but renewable as well. The next service that we offer is to assist the building owner with dealing with contractors. Lots of times the building owner doesn't know whom to call. Even if they call some contractors, they don't know how to evaluate the bids, much less choose one. And even if they just pick one, they oftentimes don't know how to manage the contractor. They don't know to ask for specific paperwork so that their rebates actually can be readily acquired, et cetera, et cetera. The best example I can give for that is a nonprofit that had a donor ready to donate 5 digits to relamp the building so that the lighting would be much more attractive and energy efficient. And so the person in charge of the nonprofit got 4 bids from 4 electricians. They varied by 400%, which was pretty shocking to me. It was to remove fluorescent lighting and replace it with LED, and only one of them made any acknowledgement of the waste lamps, and none of them explicitly committed to managing the waste lamps in the ways in which they're required to do by law. And they didn't know what to do, and they ended up sitting on them to where, you know, our proposals are perishable items. You got to sign off on one of them or none of them are any good. So they ended up not doing any of them immediately. And so we had to work with them to propose a request for proposals and find better contractors, et cetera. But that's the kind of stuff that most people running nonprofits and restaurants just can't cope with. You know, they're trying to keep the ship afloat right now. We do a fair amount of rebate processing for our clients, which is can be tedious in the sense that you got to have all the right numbers in the right places. But once you start doing it, you're like, okay, we got this. I'd say the biggest challenge is just getting the invoices to be fileable. But the more we've gotten into it and are working with our clients, we're increasingly preventing that hang up. And we also do go and check with the DLC website to make sure that the equipment is eligible for the rebate if it's not already Energy Star certified. And then the last service we provide here is, you know, my attitude is if you're going to do the work, you might as well brag about it. You can sign up and get certified, or have more specifically have your building Energy Star certified, and then you can put the logo on the store and tell your clients or your customers that you are concerned about the climate and their environmental health, which I very much believe scores points with them. And so we can assist you with that. The process requires a professional engineer, but I am one, so we can take care of that too. I believe that that is the gist of it, and we are running behind, so I'm going to yield back to Michelle.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sarah Lynn. Great information from all of our presenters. And I am going to turn the program over to Julia for our breakout sessions. But first, I just wanted to take a quick second to make sure to thank all of our presenters here today, and also to our breakout room facilitators. We have Ellen Trahan, who is the chair of LSC's board of directors, Allison Smith, an LSC board member and also assistant director of the Louisville Metro Office of Advanced Planning and Sustainability, and Julie Donna, who is a sustainability coordinator at the Office of Advanced Planning and Sustainability. So along with myself, the four of us will help facilitate the conversation in the breakout rooms. And so Julia, take us away.
Thanks, Michelle. And yes, thank you to all of our speakers and all of our attendees. This was a really cool and very informative event. Before I go into breakout rooms, I popped a couple links into the chat box. Be sure to follow the LSC on Facebook. That's the best way to stay up to date on everything that we're doing, as well as our upcoming April Green drinks. I put the link in for that. Go ahead and register for that. It'll be a really cool one with Carolyn Waters from Bellarmine and her whole class talking about different sustainability projects they're working on. So really great way to see what the youth voices are talking about in Louisville. And last but not least, make your business's energy audit a Do Something Green pledge. For those of you that don't know, we have a section on our website dedicated to community pledges and how you're going green. It's a great way for us to identify areas of interest happening in the community and what people are looking for, resources, what they're doing, etc. So as far as breakout rooms, I'm going to go ahead and launch them. Let's see. So I'm opening all the rooms. You will be able to assign yourself. There should be a prompt that comes up on the bottom of your screen asking you what breakout room you would like to join. And so you just click next to it and click join breakout room. You can hop around as you please. If you have any issues joining a breakout room, you can just put in the chat where you'd like to be assigned or private chat me, and I will go ahead and assign you manually. So other than that, please enjoy the further presenting happening in the breakout rooms. So again, that will be KPPC, LCAN, LG&E, and Energize Kentucky. The breakout rooms will end naturally. We have 30 minutes allotted for each one. No need to come back to the main session. Let's see. Okay, good. We got people starting to join. No need to come back to the main session after the breakout rooms end. You can go into another session if yours ends and you're interested in another one. But after that, you're good to go. And we're so glad you're here. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you at the next event.
Michelle,